Hello everyone, my name is Q, and today I'm here to show you how I play in X-Rank. I've gotten many questions asking what I exactly do to climb so fast, but being able to explain these games in detail will answer that the best. Right off the bat though, I have a VDS and wiper on my comp, so I don't have to make plays myself and or pull, and instead I can play a lot more around them. And you'll notice that my VDS goes left immediately at the start here, so I go right to try and create a crossfire. And I also just like going right to create space on the other side of the zone as well. But in the current state of the game, my job right now is to make sure I'm playing in a different position than my Dynamo while holding the right side of the map as best as I can. It's very important that I'm never sharing the same spot as my Dynamo because we would be sharing the same sightline. And as a result, it can lessen the value one of us could be getting. And we can also accidentally clump, which also just makes it easier to get picked off. But this position that I'm in right now is the most optimal, because the enemy cannot run through the right choke point as easily because I have a sightline over it. I destroyed and replaced my Dynamo's cooler there with a new one, because the old one had no drinks left, and I wanted to have a longer cooler uptime so someone can make a play. And the position that it's placed in is coincidental, but I'm also able to grab it without dropping into low ground. After getting the pick on the machine, I make the mistake of playing too far to the left, and ideally I need to play more towards the right side of the zone and not on the grates, because I'm just giving up space and playing where my Dynamo was already positioned. And unfortunately I realized this too late because by the time I go to rotate, we got wiped. My team needs to retake now, and as we're doing that from the left side, I'm trying to hold the right choke point and zone again to ensure they don't get flanked. And doing this gives them one less area that they have to focus on. I'm also able to peek a lot more freely because while this retake is happening, the bow is not present top mid, and their comp doesn't include a charger. Although my team is fighting on low ground here, I still don't want to drop, because doing so would give me worse angles to look from and less space to play around. I would practically be putting myself in a corner, as I wouldn't be able to cover top mid anymore. Their tent could completely control a side with shields, and their bow would have height advantage over me. I placed cooler in the same spot as the coolers at the beginning of the game, but intentionally this time. Everyone is able to grab it from a safe spot and without drastically changing their positioning, and I can continue to create a crossfire for my front lines. I noticed my Dynamo drops to low ground, so I take that opportunity to rotate to the grates and paint from there. Pen shots cover the entire zone from this spot rather than on plat, which would give you half. So I prioritize painting zone here in the best position. Instead of trying to help my wiper here, I turn around last second on the grates to help kill the tent because he poses a bigger threat to our hold than anyone else who's in their spawn. If we didn't kill him here, he would have stalled long enough for his team to come back and help him, and my Dynamo also cannot kill him alone because he doesn't do enough damage to the shield. I also heard the enemy Dynamo shoot behind me, and I know I won't turn fast enough to react and kill him, so I jump to one of my teammates on the zone to ensure my safety. Here I make up for my mistake from before and play towards the right side of the zone because my Dynamo is stationary on the left grates, but I quickly go to rotate where he is right after to have a better painting position. Even though it's the end of the game and the positioning doesn't matter as much, I don't think it's always necessary to go here, as holding the right side of the map would be stronger and ensuring the zone can't be neutralized. This game is just one of many examples where, in solo queue especially, you have to be able to adapt on the fly because you're playing with and against so many different weapons and playstyles. The next game demonstrates this, as I have to play slightly differently compared to this one to win. So this game was a lot more challenging to play because of the comp. We have double cooler, which means although my front lines have the advantage of going for more safe opportunities, they'll also be staggered a lot more, so I need to provide stability for them by being the backbone. This means I just play more passive, provide jumps, and ideally stay high ground for majority of the game. Dropping into low ground when there is a repeated pattern of us staggering will only put me, and by extension the whole team, in a worse position. I'll be unable to stabilize as a result, and will have to constantly jump out for my own protection, giving up space in the process and resetting an entire push. However, if I just stay high ground and rotate between our plat and top mid, if possible, the entire time, I'm able to stabilize a lot better because I don't have to give up any space at all. Despite not being directly present in our bottom left area, I can still hold majority of it with the range of position I have that it merely makes it harder for the enemy team to have a good hold. As a result, they would have to spend more time and resources into taking more space that it allows my team to take an opportunity elsewhere. I also don't have to jump to be protected because I can easily jump backward onto our plat from top mid, and when I'm actually on our plat, there's a pillow I can play around, or I can just swim backwards and reposition somewhere else quickly because I'm not backed into a corner. I choose to drop and play farther into the zone because I know 100% that dropping here wouldn't cause us to destabilize since the enemy goes 3 down. And I assumed one of us would cross, so I threw a cooler underneath the right plat for us to grab, but the pen beat us to it, so I repositioned bottom right to set up a crossfire under their plat. This position is really strong for a few reasons. Firstly, I'm able to have a sideline of their entire plat, and because of my range, it's impossible for them to contest me unless they waste resources or reposition into their top right spawn, so they're forced to make a choice between those two or dropping into my other teammates. Secondly, I can create enough space, also through my range, that it allows for my teammate to cross under their plat. And thirdly, having space in that general area is great for having a better hold, even if the weapon existing in that area can't reach as well onto their plat, because it's an extra spot that the enemy has to clear before they can retake safely. Because at least one of my teammates crossed during that time, however, I lost value staying there because I'm essentially shooting and looking at the things they now have covered. Our push unfortunately got reset for my 2 front lines going down then, so I go back to playing the role of backbone after retaking. I see the brush trying to flank off the respawn, so I retreat back to our plat to cover it from a safer position. If I had stayed top mid instead there, I'd be turning my back to the enemy plat and making myself way more vulnerable to the pen and crab. I reposition to our top right here, so I'm not 4-stacking plat with the rest of my team, and this just forces the enemy pen to look at more than one angle and choose between what to contest. I also didn't realize that my Dynamo used cooler there, so I made the mistake of using mine for no good reason, and ideally it should be saved for the next fight that my team has. Even though we have a lot of control, it's still not safe to drop into low ground, so once again, I go back to being the backbone and try to deal as much damage as I can without making myself too vulnerable. I get contested by a splash here, and despite hitting him once, I opt to stall for my teammate to turn around and help instead of getting the pick myself because I'm really close to cooler. I throw cooler bottom left near the statue because it allows you to get cooler from both high and low ground, so I don't have to drop to get it. Two of my teammates go down, so I expect someone from the other team to contest our bottom left, so I walk backwards to contest back from a safe distance. I don't have to get a kill here, just shooting is enough to stall for my team to come back and for the enemy to be unable to take space in the entire area. At this point in the game, the brush has already tried to flank once off respawn, so I waited to see if he would do it again, and sure enough he did, and it was a free pick. My teammates tend to lean towards controlling the right side of the map on holds, so all I really have to do from this point on is control the left side where they cannot reach and deny flanks. My 2 teammates also already have cooler on the zone, so I throw mine pretty selfishly, but in case they do die, they can easily just jump to me, grab my cooler, and go fight again. When retaking, I always go top left immediately off respawn to clear areas from a different angle and prevent player stacking, but since there was already a fight happening in mid and our plat was cleared, I can skip the setup and rush to help the fight instead. Because the pen has a good off angle onto our plat, I have to position myself somewhere that either A, blocks the pen's view of me, or B, is out of the pen's reach, as well as still having a sightline of the fight. I'm able to get 2 picks on the zone because of these conditions, and especially the one on the pen, because I created a bait and switch to force him to jump forward and expose himself to the open to try and get the pick on me. Despite getting the pick though, I still needed to take my time with the zone because dying would have caused a loss. Being the backbone of the comp and pen being one of the biggest threats during a paint war, I had to ensure that I was simultaneously contesting and painting from a safe spot and distance still. That is all I have for today though, but thank you for watching, and in the meantime, why not try to apply this thinking to your games?